Do you know the real reason why you've spent your life questioning everything around you? It's because, deep down, you've always known that there's something missing, something that doesn't add up. It's almost as if you're living in a world that doesn't quite make sense, where your thoughts and your body don't quite align. You experience emotions, sensations, and thoughts, but they seem so separate from each other. And yet, you can't escape the feeling that they are somehow connected. But how? How can something as intangible as thought be linked to something as physical as the body? This dilemma has haunted humanity for centuries. But in the 17th century, one philosopher took on this very mystery and offered us a lens through which to see the world in a completely different way. His name was René Descartes, and he's the reason you and I even ask questions like, what am I? Who am I? And most importantly, how do I know what I know? Descartes dared to look beyond the surface of things, beyond the idea of just living and existing, and instead, he sought to understand the very essence of reality. He asked a question that we still grapple with today. What is the relationship between the mind and the body? How can something as fleeting as a thought be connected to something as concrete as your hand moving when you want it to? It all starts with one simple, yet profound idea. Descartes famously said, "Cogito ergo sum," translated, "I think, therefore I am." Now, you may have heard that phrase a million times, but let's stop and really reflect on it. Descartes didn't start from the idea of a physical world, a world full of objects or substances. No, he started with the only thing he was absolutely sure of, the fact that he could think. The fact that he was able to question his own existence, even doubt his own senses, proved to him that there must be a thinking thing, an essence behind the process. That was the mind, the res cogitans, the thinking substance. This was Descartes' breakthrough. In his famous work, Meditations on First Philosophy, Descartes proposed that the mind and the body are distinct substances. The mind is the thinking, non-material substance, and the body is the material, physical substance. It seems so simple now, but back then it was revolutionary. Descartes was drawing a line in the sand, separating the mental and physical realms. His mind-body dualism was a dramatic shift in how we understand ourselves and the world. But here's the thing. Descartes' theory wasn't just some abstract idea to think about. It was a theory that was meant to explain how we experience the world. In Descartes' view, the body is like a machine, a collection of matter and mechanical parts that interact with the world through sensory experiences. The mind, however, is something entirely different. It's the realm of thought, of consciousness, of identity. And this mind isn't confined to the body. It's something separate and immaterial, something that can exist apart from the physical world. So, picture this for a moment. Your body is like a puppet, responding to the world, interacting with the environment, and doing its job to keep you alive. But your mind? Your mind is the true you. It's where your thoughts, your desires, your consciousness reside. It's where your very essence lives. You are not just a body, but a thinking, conscious being. And because the mind is non-material, it is free from the physical limitations of the body. It can exist independently, in a sense. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds great, but isn't there a huge problem here? How exactly do the mind and body interact? If they are two completely separate substances, how do they work together? Descartes himself was the first to wrestle with this question. He couldn't just leave it hanging, so he proposed an answer. For Descartes, the pineal gland in the brain was the point of interaction between the mind and the body. This tiny organ, located deep in the brain, was where the mind could influence the body and vice versa. This idea, though interesting, was controversial and remains a topic of philosophical debate to this day. But let's pause here for a moment and consider something truly mind-bending. What if the very separation between the mind and body is what defines our existence as human beings. Descartes opened up a world where we could consider ourselves as more than just bodies, more than just physical beings. He showed us that the essence of who we are isn't defined by our physical appearance or the biological functions of our body. It's defined by the thoughts we have, the consciousness we experience, and the decisions we make. And yet, that same separation, that same mind-body dualism, creates a tension within us. We are aware that we have a body, this physical form that we can see, touch, and interact with. But we also know that something deeper exists within us, something that can't be easily pinned down or explained away. It's this tension that makes the mind-body problem so fascinating and so unresolved. We can't deny that our body is real. It moves, it grows, it ages. But we can't escape the undeniable truth that our mind is equally real. It's where our ideas, our emotions, our self-awareness live. And this duality, it creates a space where philosophy, science, and the mysteries of consciousness collide. Think about it for a moment. Why is it that your body can be physically hurt, yet your mind seems untouched? Why is it that, no matter how broken your body might feel, your thoughts can soar freely, imagining, creating, dreaming? Descartes offered us an answer, but he also left us with an unanswered question. How do these two realms, mind and body, truly work together? Can they ever truly be separate? Or are they always inextricably linked, even when we don't understand how? It's a question that scientists, philosophers, and even everyday people have struggled with for centuries. And yet, this very tension is part of what makes us human. Descartes gave us a framework for understanding ourselves, but he didn't solve all the problems. Instead, he opened the door to a new way of thinking about existence, one that has led to centuries of exploration and inquiry. Now, consider this. If the mind and body are separate, where does that leave our free will? If the mind is non-material and the body is physical, can the mind truly control the body? Or is it simply along for the ride, a spectator of its own actions? Descartes believed that the mind was the source of reason and free will. But in the world of neuroscience, we now know that the body, especially the brain, plays a significant role in decision-making. But that doesn't mean Descartes was entirely wrong. Perhaps the mind's influence over the body isn't as direct or mechanical as he thought. But that doesn't diminish the importance of our thoughts, our consciousness, and the choices we make. In a way, Descartes' mind-body dualism offers us an invitation to explore what it truly means to be human. It asks us to dig deep and confront the most basic of questions. What makes us who we are? Are we just the sum of our physical parts, or is there something more, something transcendent, that defines our essence? This question, this age-old dilemma, may never have a clear answer. But perhaps that's the point. Descartes gave us the tools to ask better questions, to look deeper into ourselves, and to embrace the mystery of our own existence. By daring to separate the mind from the body, he forced us to confront a fundamental truth, that our understanding of who we are will never be complete, but that in itself is the beauty of being human. So, the next time you feel a disconnect between your thoughts and your body, when your body aches but your mind is clear, or when you wonder what it means to truly be alive, remember Descartes. Remember that your mind and body are two separate substances, but that you, in your very essence, are the one who must navigate the space between them. You are more than just flesh and bone. You are thought, consciousness, and the mystery of existence, forever caught between the world you see and the world you feel. Are you ready to accept this duality and embrace the paradox that is your own existence? Because in the end, it's not about finding the answers. It's about living the questions. And Descartes, in his infinite wisdom, left us with plenty of those to ponder.